Station 13. Pollinators, an indispensable resource. One of the most important and fascinating natural interactions in the animal and plant kingdoms is the interaction between flowering plants and their pollinators. This happens to ensure reproduction through the transfer of pollen from a flower's male reproductive organ, the stamen, to a female reproductive organ, the pistil, of the same type of plant or of the same species. In ecological terms, this represents an exchange of services referred to as a mutualistic relationship. The flower produces nutrients to attract the pollinator, which is stained with pollen while feeding. Continuing its search for food, the pollinator carries the pollen particles with which it has been stained from one flower to another, thus creating cross-pollination. When we think of a typical pollinator, the insect that immediately comes to mind is a bee. However, butterflies and moths are also excellent pollinators, as are numerous other insects such as bumblebees, wasps, beetles, dipterans, ants, spiders, and others. In the bird kingdom, the best-known pollinators are the hummingbirds, the smallest in nature. Thanks to their extremely high wing flap rate, from 12 to 80 beats per second, they can hover over a flower for the time necessary to suck the nectar, which stains their beaks with pollen before carrying it over to the next flower. Certain bat species, which are active at night, also serve as pollinators, as well as moths attracted by the scent of flowers. Although wind and water also carry pollen, insects primarily serve as pollinators. Taken from the Latin pronubis, which literally means effecting a union, i.e., between a pollen granule and ovule, pollination is an essential function in the survival of plants, and thus of mankind. Suffice to say that 70% of agricultural crops around the world depend on insect pollination, and in Europe, this figure rises further to 84%. However, their existence is being threatened through disease, the large-scale and indiscriminate use of pesticides in agriculture, as well as the scarcity of greenery and flowers, their main food resource, due to increasing urbanization. A city with plenty of flowers is a pollinator-friendly habitat, and thus also good for humans.